N_A LUVRP V5 lowercase w. There we go. Let's get set, and we're live.
Okay.
So this is our screen.
Okay.
You introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is James Wong. I'll be helping you guys with your finance questions.
My name is Owen Henkel. I'm one of the assistants with the course as well. I've had class with Professor Cowell before, and we should be joined by a third student shortly. So welcome. We're excited to meet you. And do you have any questions for us? Hey. Great. Hey, are you all set? Okay, great. So just, you see across the street and kind of the big building. Okay. Oh, yep. Great. So if you want to chat with people,
Okay.
just chat here, and then you can talk to them on the screen, and I'll be right back.
All right. Guest 2245. I'm not quite sure what you mean by MOOCs. Could you clarify that for me? So you're asking whether there's more classes from University of Michigan that to deal with finance, or just finance in general being offered on Coursera? Because currently all I know is that the only University of Michigan course for finance on Coursera is the one that you're currently in. I don't believe there's any others. But I believe there are other financial courses on Coursera if you just, in the search bar, type in finance. One second. Hello? Yeah, hey, no, it's James. Hey, Owen's coming outside to meet you. So you want to go North Hall. You come in North. We're inside North Hall, right across from what's it called? BW3. Right across, yeah, Liberty. Or no, I'm sorry, okay. There's that one street above Liberty. Okay, do you know where Buffalo Wild Wings is? Okay, if you go north, one block, yeah. 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 And there's a building called North Hall. And then, yeah, he's right by the how's it down there? Yeah. Hey, where are you? I was just down there. Hey, sorry about that, guys. We're trying to find somebody in the building. To finish up that thought about for guest 2245, this is the only class that I'm aware of that he offers on Coursera for a professor call. And then Rishi, if you had a question, yeah, go ahead. So Rishi, regarding your question, I'm not quite sure. I mean, it all depends what you want to be doing after graduate school, or after, or whether, what you plan on doing career-wise. It's great that you have an engineering background, and that will definitely tie into finance if you decide to do finance. I mean, the quant's a lot easier in finance compared to engineering, from my understanding. If you could be more specific on what your goals are, we might be able to provide some assistance there. But yeah, if you plan on doing corporate finance or financial services, a master's in finance would definitely help.
Hi.
What's going on?
You say your laptops?
Yeah, I do.
Chris, do you want to introduce yourself to everyone? Grab a seat.
Okay.
You can sit there.
This guy's asking about
Go for it.
career guidance. Not sure if I'm the best.
Yeah, just talk to me about it.
What did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, Sanchez. So Rishi, if you're interested in corporate finance, and I don't know how much research you've already done into the topic or into the career or industry, I would first recommend that you go talk to some people who are already in corporate finance to see if it's a good fit for you before you decide to go pursue a master's in it or in finance. Yeah, you probably want to gather some more information about if this is really what you want to do, especially since you're already on the engineering track. But a lot of people, especially at the business school that we're in, have engineering backgrounds and now doing career switches to finance or financial services.
Sit down. Grab a seat. Start down.
Just introduction.
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Chris. I grew up in the southwest of China, and I went to Hong Kong for my undergrad. So after graduation, I joined the KPMG in the auditing function for 4 years. And I came to Ross because I want to switch my career from auditing to investment banking.
Great. And then I think Rishi was asking you about masters in finance and what your thoughts about that. What kind of careers you could have with a master's in finance.
Master in finance.
What do you think about that, or just careers that are you're interested in?
I never thought that before. Let me check.
Just think about it.
Okay. So I know some of my friends, they are applying for the master finance as well, but most of them already have, 1 or 2 years of the working experience. So they choose the master degree in master in finance because, it's really required by their employer because they think they require some further training in this finance area.
I mean, would you agree that if you wanted to be like if you wanted to be like a CFO one day at a company,
Yeah.
they're probably gonna expect you to have a master's in finance.
Yes, I agree. Usually I think a part to become very successful CFO, on the one hand, you should very solid, experience and a background in accounting. So if you have a CPA, it will definitely helps a lot. On the other hand, I think the CFA also emphasize a lot on the strategic side and the operation levels. So I agree that a master degree will also definitely help.
Can we see that chat on
Yeah,
our?
I just
Oh,
assigned it
okay.
to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys can look at the ongoing chat.
sure
Yeah,
about.
you say what you think. Appreciate it.
Okay. Are we live again? So Rishi, a CFO, if that's what you're trying to go after, it's going to require a lot of work experience in finance. So just getting a master's isn't going to be the answer to being a CFO. I'm sure you're aware of that. You also might consider a lot of CFOs have MBAs as well as their credentials are quite extensive. So it's there's a lot of different ways to do it, but most importantly, you're going to need to get work experience. I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
Yes, especially because I was working in the auditing background before, so I actually touch a lot of the CFO from my past clients. So usually at a corporate, at the finance department, there may be some three. The first one is maybe like treasury. Second one is called financial planning and analysis. The third one is called corporate development. So in my opinion, I think most of the CFAs, they are internally promoted from the financial planning and analysis. The reason is because they have been working in this area for a lot of the years. So they have a very clear idea about what happened in this company.
Okay.
So they can, when they were promoted to the CFO, so they can make these strategic decisions from the financial perspective.
Good. And the next one, Chris, is a question about IRR.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can start, James. And
Okay.
So, I think you saw in Professor Call's videos, IRR is usually preferred by companies because it's just how easy it is to do. It's kind of just, if you don't want to think about which project should be the one you want to do, you just do IRR. And companies I've talked to have also said, yeah, we just do IRR. But I think from the videos that you've seen, Professor Call, he really highlights, the main reasons you shouldn't use IRR because of I forgot, what was it? It's biased towards
short-term investment.
And the magnitude does play a role in the IRR as well.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it is definitely something they use in the real world, but it's not the best reason for what he told you.
I would say IRR probably is a good supplementary measure in addition to the NPV. Let's say there are two projects, one is just 5 years, the other is 10 years, but the NPV of the 10 years is maybe just, let's say, 1,000 higher than that of the 5 years. So suppose you are the company CEO, will you really, change your decision just because there's tiny difference? But in this case, probably the IRR from the 5 years will be higher. So there's a chance that you will go for the 5 years project just because, the NPV is just slightly lower than the 10 years one.
So were either of you guys living in Michigan beforehand, guys? Or did you just move here?
I actually grew up in Michigan, Troy, and I actually went here for undergrad, University of Michigan for undergrad, and then joined the military afterwards, spent about 7-8 years there before coming back to Michigan for my MBA. So I'm going to have to yield to him for most of the work experience questions, unless you guys want to talk about like guns or something.
So yeah, I grew up in the southwest of China, and 8 years ago, I went to Hong Kong for my undergrad, and I was working there for 4 years. So I just came to Michigan, in August of this year, and actually this is also the first time that I come to the United States. I would say, the experience here is very great. Just give you, a very simple idea about like Hong Kong. Very few people will say something like "hello" or "how are you" to the people that you don't know. But here is totally different. I like this kind of the feel.
Mm-hmm. Great. Great. So I think that maybe what Rishi is asking is, are the problems with IRR only for novices, or will they still pose problems to someone who's more experienced with finance?
Yeah, maybe I would say sometimes the IRR is really a very quick check for this project. For example, if your IRR is lower than your required rate of return, it's definitely that you should not do that. So in this case, your appraisal based on IRR or NPV will be the same. That is, do not do this project.
And your company will kind of tell you what you should be using. I mean, sometimes they want to see certain things in the report that they're going to be using to make their decisions. And if IRR, sometimes they just put down blindly IRR is what they want to see. And usually you can, if you think thoughtfully about it, as Professor Call likes to say about it, you can, you could make some good points about why it isn't the best idea, and maybe your company will appreciate that more than just chugging through the numbers.
Yeah. The other thing is that, say, if the company has unlimited resources, unlimited cash and capital, so you can definitely do all the project that generate an IRR as long as it's higher than your required rate of return.
I think maybe some of the thought though is that if you are at a company that only uses IRR and doesn't think about it carefully, what will happen is that you'll only end up doing certain types of projects.
Yes.
If you don't really understand what it means, and it's easy that if you use something all the time, that you stop thinking about what it actually means.
Yes, exactly. So let's say if the company, they just have limited or scarce resources, if they only use the IRR, then it tends to be that they will only invest those projects with a very short-term investment period, or just required a minimum initial investment.
And maybe even sometimes small projects.
Yes,
it's easy to get a higher IRR on a smaller project than a bigger project.
Yes.
And how is Michigan going for you guys right now?
Good.
It's snowing. Yeah, actually, I see the snow. I'm a little bit excited because I was living in Hong Kong for 8 years. I never seen it snows there before.
You've never seen snow before?
Yeah, almost never.
So I've seen snow quite a bit. And, I actually haven't dealt with snow for a while now. So yeah, it's okay. I'm not missing it though. I'll be happy when we're back in the summer months or spring months.
What are you guys thinking about doing professionally? What things are you interested in?
You mean my MBA?
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, I want to pursue a career in investment banking. The reason is because during my past auditing experience, I was involved in some major merger and acquisition deals with some investment bankers. So I realized that the investment bank, they play a very totally different role from accountant like us we do before, because they are involved in the whole process from the initial strategy to the final execution. So I'm more interested in in this whole picture rather than just the accounting figures in the past. The other thing is that I like to develop your relationship in investment banking, especially with your client and with other bankers in the different locations. Just think about you help the client to help them to achieve the success by advising them to to complete the different kind of the strategic transactions.
I'm thinking about doing corporate finance, and so it's for me it's a big change, big career switch. So, but the reason I like corporate finance is just so many decisions can be made either based off of a gut feeling or else actual sound financial analysis. And I mean, yeah, in the business world, you got to use strong financial analysis to make good decisions, or you should at least. So that's what I'm pursuing.
And Rishi just had a question.
Mm-hmm.
Could you guys recommend any books or other study material or something that you can grab to help you with the basics of finance?
Actually,
Mm-hmm.
I got one right here.
Do you have that with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the name of this thing? Oh, actually, yeah.
Yeah, just press.
So, I mean, to help me with the finance course and valuation course I'm taking, there's a good textbook I found, Fundamentals of Corporate Finance. It's a 10th edition. I'm trying to see who the authors are. The authors are Ross, Westerfield, and Jordan, and we'll throw that in the chat for you. But it follows what Professor Call does. It might use a couple different terms for some of the things he describes, but for the most part, it has a very solid, easy to read, easy to read, like understand the fundamentals that we were talking about. But I would say the videos that you're watching, they capture pretty much everything you would need to get down the fundamentals of corporate finance.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would say I'm not saying reading the textbook is not effective, but I would suggest maybe like understanding the materials and the video tends to be more efficient.
Mm-hmm. And knowing more accounting will always help you in finance, because if you can't really understand financial statements and how they work or like how they feed upon each other, that's going to hold you back when you're actually trying to calculate what your cash flows are, or when you're trying to just do NPV in general. You're going to need to be able to grab that information from financial statements.
So have you figured out how American football works yet?
Yes, I do.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, I think good things that I know the basic rules already, so I know the moment when should I cheer up instead of just follow other guys. But at this moment, I need to spend a lot of time to study the strategy during the football field. That tends to be more challenging for me, I think.
Have you been to any games?
Yes, I was the game with Penn State.
Okay, wow.
That was really great.
You want to explain a little bit about the Big House or why football is so big here?
Well, Michigan is known to have a good football team. This year is a little rough for us, but hopefully next year we'll do better. But the Big House is actually the largest. That's where all our Michigan football games are played, our home ones at least. It's actually the largest football stadium, I believe, out of any stadium. Yeah, so that's why that's why we call it the Big House. I think it seats close to 120,000 people.
Yeah.
So when you have that many people in one space, it can get pretty loud and intense inside. So if any of you guys are thinking about coming to Michigan, we do football right here.
No, a different Big House. Trying to get everyone out there. There we go.
Yeah.
The track
Do
signature.
you want to explain what people are looking at?
Oh, there's another question about the
So
signature track.
Or just quickly, you want to tell them what they're looking at and then go back to the track?
Are they seeing it now?
They should, yeah.
So what you're seeing right now, or we'll be seeing in a few seconds, is images of the Big House. And yeah, that is, as you can see, it is when it's packed, it's quite a sight to see.
Where were you sitting?
usually sit in the student zone around
Okay.
row 50 or something.
Mhm.
But this is very tired because students here are very crazy. They don't even sit there. So we are always standing there for the whole game.
So I guess time.
Yeah, and cheering and keep singing the song, Hail to the victors.
All right. Can you guys sing the song? They're embarrassing.
I won't be. I think we might lose people that way.
Yeah.
So okay, the signature track.
So I'll jump in here just because I actually do some research in this area. I think that's a really good question. I think it really depends on the employer and the context. There's definitely increasing interest in these types of, I guess you could call it alternate certification methods. And so I think that's really where the goal is going, that these type of certificates will hold some weight and maybe mean something a little more specific to employers. So yeah, we hope so. That being said, I think it's also a process in development that will keep on growing. What do you guys think?
I mean, I was strongly considering doing the signature track or paying for that feature. It's just, unfortunately, universities, if you're thinking about going for your MBA or master's degree, I don't think there's any university that currently takes it as credit or a way to waive out of a course. So until maybe Coursera is able to crack that code, it might not be worth it. But then once they do, and you're already in signature track, you've got all this.
Also, they'll accept it. When I was applying to MBA programs, I didn't have much finance background, so I took some online courses, and you can notify universities that you're applying to, and they'll take it into consideration. It doesn't mean that they'll necessarily say yes, but if they see it as a sign of you're serious about this, you're trying to learn it. Do you know about?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, it's really kind of, especially, it's not just about when you are applying for the school, but also when you trying to switch your career, like say to finance. If you took this course before, it will be very good thing that to show you that you have this kind of commitment and interest in this finance area, and definitely it will help.
What's it like having Professor Cowell in class, been in class with him?
Go ahead.
I really like it. The first thing I would like to say is, hey, fundamentally changed the way I study about the finance. So, I got my CPA license and I also took the CFA exam before. So, even before I came here, I got some basic understanding about the finance. But the way I study about the finance before is mainly based on memorizing, without thoroughly understanding the formulas. But here, it's totally a different approach. It's really, fundamentally push me to, to understand the concept. The other thing is that I really think, Professor Gunter is really a lot of humor. Just give it, I was an accountant before, but he doesn't like accountant too much. Maybe he sometimes say, okay, when you are driving, you are looking forward. That is about the finance. You are looking at the mirror and the two sides. That is about accounting. So when you are driving, which one is more important? Definitely driving forward, right?
Yeah. He definitely. What you get from his lectures, you guys kind of see it a little bit of in his videos. But when you actually have him face to face for a class, you definitely, what you get from it is things that you would use in discussion. If you are talking with someone else who is in finance, they could really understand the analogies he makes or the metaphors he uses. So it's more real world, I'd say, not just like what you were saying. It's pure textbook learning.
Yeah.
This stuff you can. It makes you, when you talk with people, they can say, "Wow, he really has an understanding of this," versus just a textbook understanding of the material.
Cool. We're going to mute ourselves for a second and then see if there are more questions coming up. I guess we can chat for a while and see if more people show up.
Okay.
Mhm.
For all you guys out there, I would say these first couple assignments that you've had are pretty straightforward. It's just basic math and just understanding discount rates that are given to you. But later on, when you, especially when you get into the bond pricing, or bonds and CAPM, you're gonna definitely want to utilize this resource to help figure out the questions, or like what the question's really asking you to do. Because they're tricky. We had to do these same questions, and not all of us did great on these assignments, but we learned from it.
I would like to say, before you start each of the question, think about it for a while before you just open your Excel and try to crunch the numbers. So think about the process, how this matters, what are the major, maybe like the cash flows, have you considered everything that tends to be more important than just the calculation.
And the videos kind of give you a good hint for what the professor is trying to drive at in the question. So definitely watch the videos before doing the questions. I'm sure you guys are already doing that, but maybe for these couple first assignments you didn't have to, but for the later ones, it's definitely important that you do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, and the discussion board, it's also a great resource. Do try to share your thoughts on how to tackle problems. I remember using that sometimes. It can be a great resource to figure out what steps you're missing. Yeah. So are we also going to be answering questions on the discussion forum as well? Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Just the video sessions?
Yeah.
Who is doing the
Discussion forums?
Yeah, the teams.
Yeah, it's usually like people who've taken the course before
Oh,
and did
okay.
pretty well, and they just do it on their
Oh,
own.
it's not people that.
It's all virtual.
Okay, the professor hasn't selected them.
No, yes.
Oh,
Oh, here we go. You see that?
you're the CPA. What do you think of doing things by hand?
I would say using Excel, the good thing is that it's very quick and direct. But sometimes you may little get confused about where is this number is coming from and what does it mean. But on the other hand, if you use a graph, I think the good thing is that you have visual aids, and it will really help you to understand about that.
And then from like from when you're actually at a job, you definitely want to do everything digitally, because that's how everyone collaborates now. So it's great that if you do this by hand, it's great that you can do it. But you need to be able to use Excel very well.
Yeah. And the other example I can give to you is that, let's say there are two projects with different cash flows. So you want to find out the IRR at which point they will generate the same NPV. So I would suggest you use both ways. You use both the Excel and use the graph. So it can give you a very good idea about at which point the NPV of the one project will be higher than the other one. It will definitely help a lot.
What's been the hardest thing? What was the hardest thing about the class for you when you guys were taking it?
It's because I'm not I'm a career switcher. I didn't have a finance background. The later assignments do require, it's more than just number crunching. So trying to understand the concepts that the professor's talking about in the videos can be a little challenging, because it's not as intuitive as you think it is.
Yeah, the same. As I just said, the most important thing is to have a think before you start any of the questions. I remember there's one question and one assignment. Everything seems very straightforward. You just use the number, you plug in the formula, you get the result, but it's wrong because the direction is wrong. So the way I think about it is not correct. So this is something that I would say is probably most challenging stuff for me.
Some of the questions, they will give you like red herrings, information that you think is, you just plug it in and you actually don't need it, as well as it probably isn't. You have to think of the assumptions behind the information they're giving you, especially when it comes to discount rates or interest rates. Sometimes the interest rate they give you may not be the interest rate you need to use.
Okay, guys, I think we're gonna think about wrapping up about 5 minutes early here. It seems like we had a good chance to chat with everyone, and most of the folks might have gotten what they need. Thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and see you next time.
Thanks. So any questions, please let us know.
Yeah, let him know.